Growing is a tear. There is always something in the air. And sometimes I feel that that's just not fair. But oh well, I'm 72 and you're 14. And that's the thing. We can't always have that. It's not the bum. Just have fun. Laugh and cry because someday we won't be here. That's not bad. That's not sad. Just be glad we have met and had fun along the way.
Hello, hello.
Hello and welcome.
This is the Porter Collins Show. It is the new show.
The new one, not the old one.
You have no idea how new it is. So yeah, basically this is the first episode of the video version of our podcast, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this one's a little bit different because in our podcast, we're not planning to have guests that often, but in this one, it'll probably be more like every other episode or every episode. We haven't decided yet.
Yeah. We'll see like how many guests we can get, and then we'll have them on the show. So yeah.
First guest is pretty exciting.
Oh yeah. And so is his job. Okay.
Yep. We won't go into it yet. We're
Yeah.
not gonna spoil it.
Nope.
But he's
We
pretty
won't.
awesome dude.
Not at all. So yeah, I think we should start with a little background of who we are and kind of like how we know each other and how we grew up. So basically, it started 10 years ago when we were little tiny children in this program called Awana. And Awana is basically this thing where you go and you play verses and you play games and stuff. And we were in the youngest version called Cubbies.
Preschoolers and stuff. Does it go all the way up to kindergarten, or is that Sparky's?
I think Sparky's is. Yeah, I think
First
that's
grade
kindergarten. I think Sparky's is
Okay.
kindergarten first grade.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But yeah, so we met there and we basically just kind of hit it off and started hanging out. And oh, go ahead.
You can go.
Okay. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, so then his family started coming to my church and we just started hanging out together and like wanted to be together all the time.
Yeah, our family started hanging out, and I wanted to hang out with him more, and we were both homeschooled, so it kind of worked out. And after a while of getting to know each other, we started hanging out more and more, where it was more of we have weeks on end where we just hang out every other day or every day. It's just we'd kind of switch houses. Like my older sibling, Alistair, would go to his house with his older sibling Noah, and he would come over to my house, and then we'd switch. We just keep doing that. Keep doing homeschool. That's about it.
Yep. Basically, it was not a question of can we hang out today. It was whose house am I going to today.
Yeah.
Which I think was pretty good. Like the golden age of age, I guess. But yeah, so then we just started we got to the age where we actually started getting into stuff. Not in a bad way, but just like getting into like toys and whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think the first toy we ever got into was Legos. That was the bomb for
That
a while.
It was a very, very big bomb.
For a minute.
Oh yeah, we used to just like play with Legos every time we'd see each other, and like got to the point where we'd trade Legos for like a week. Like you can play with this minifigure, I can borrow those pieces or whatever. It was pretty fun.
It was more of an excuse to hang out. Like, at least that's what I used it for. I would be like, oh, I haven't returned this minifigure that's his. I guess we're going to have to go to his house and hang out.
It was a genius ploy. As genius as you can get for like 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we discovered video games when we got a little bit older. and we started to play Halo, which
Yep.
was way cool.
Really cool. It was like our grown-up game. Like we thought we were teenagers when we were 7 playing Halo.
It was the biggest boy game that we had ever played, and
Yeah.
so basically we played that for a while, and then our parents kind of realized about grown-up men shooting each other, and then they were like, you know what, maybe not for a 7 and 8-year-old, so they took it away for a while. Yeah, it was a sad day, but then it was a happier day when we discovered Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft was like a filler game. It was like, we can't play Halo right now, but we can play Minecraft until we can play Halo.
Yeah.
The thing about Minecraft that we didn't realize is it was very addicting, like very addicting.
Oh yeah, and it takes like so long to start and finish because you start something and then you realize it's been like 2 hours, and then your mom comes in like, you've been on there for way too long. You're like, wait, I just have to finish this one thing, and then like an hour later.
And that one thing needed hours of mining to get the one material that you needed to make it.
Yeah, but it was a pretty fun game. It got to the point where I got too addicted to it, and my dad had 3 hernias in his stomach, and so he went to the hospital, and he got surgery to remove them, and then my family went to visit him with my not uncle, grandpa, and he was lying in the hospital bed, totally doped up on drugs. Heard him to laugh, like kind of miserable. And we had just ordered Minecraft off of Amazon for Xbox 360. And the only thing I could think of was not that worrying my dad would be okay. It was I could build this hospital in Minecraft. And I remember thinking there were like these pillars out front of the hospital. It's like I could build those with cobblestone.
Yeah, and that's kind of when we realized, hey, this game is very addicting, and I don't want to be addicted. So we started playing with other toys called Nerf guns.
Yeah, we kind of taken after Halo in the way that we still wanted to shoot people, but we wanted to do it in an 8-year-old appropriate way.
Yeah.
So
Well, you were probably 8. I was probably 9.
yeah, something like that. But yeah, so we started Nerf guns. My parents probably loved us doing that, shooting them in the face with foam darts. Everyone
Never
liked it.
picking them up.
Yeah, never picking them up, always losing them somewhere. When asking for money to buy more.
Yeah, those
Probably
things
loved
were
it.
always expensive. Unlike Legos, which used to be affordable price, and now they're like really expensive. Nerf guns have always been really expensive.
Yeah, because a lot of them have been like big too. Like you used to get these ones where you could get like a main part, and they get several things you can add on to it.
I might actually have one. I'm gonna go see if I can get one to show them.
All right.
This is my most recent purchase. As you can see, it's pretty big,
That is big.
and it was like $40.
Is that duct tape on the top thing?
Where?
On the thing on top, the gray.
This is a scope on a
Oh.
scope.
It looked like duct tape.
What else? It's just.
Yeah,
I wanted to play Halo in real life
yeah.
without killing people.
I was always jealous of that gun though, because I used to get like the little pistols and stuff, and then the one I was most proud of when I was little is like this big shotgun that I had that shot 2 at a time. I thought it was way cool. And then Owen comes along and he buys that Nerf gun, which basically it's fully automatic, where you hold down like this fan and then you hold down the trigger.
I believe
And-
it's semi-automatic because you have to pull the trigger every time.
Oh, okay. But that's a lot more than I had. I had to like pump it every time. I was always jealous of that, and then I would always like want to save up for a new Nerf gun like that, and I'd be like, nah.
And then we realized it wasn't worth it. We could be using that money for greater, bigger, and better things. And by that time, we were 10-year-olds. We were basically full-grown adults. We knew what we wanted, and we decided to ask, can we play Halo again? And they gave us a thumbs up, and we got to play Halo out with the Nerf guns. They've basically been in that container over there ever since.
Yeah, mine are somewhere in a closet or something. I don't even know where they are. So yeah,
But when we weren't playing video games or with Nerf guns or Legos, we were watching TV shows. Some of them cringy, But this, however, was not one of the cringy ones. This is one of the ones we still watch to this day. Phineas and Ferb.
That was my
On
show.
my face.
Yes, that was.
Still is.
It still is one of the very best shows that you'll ever watch. And one of the key factors to that is the main character's head is in fact a triangle, which I just think is like spectacular. But it's a hilarious show. We can't really explain it in the time that we have right now.
Basically, two kids build stuff with their friends, and there's a platypus, and he fights an evil dude.
Yeah.
And yeah,
He puts on a fedora.
That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, and their sister is constantly trying to get them in trouble.
But there were some pretty cringy shows that we watched that we won't go into detail about, but we will say one of them was Disney's Jessie.
Mm,
It's sad to admit, but we did watch it when we were little. We did.
we watched a lot of those shows. I used to think it was funny for a little bit, but then I'll say grew up a little bit.
Even our 10-year-old minds, after a while, were like, Phineas
Yeah.
and Ferb is a higher standard of comedy.
It really is, because they don't use a laugh track, and they don't have to. It's just,
Because it's actually funny.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we watched a lot of those shows. There's like Jessie. There's another one that has a spin-off of Punk called Bunk, I think it was. Yeah,
The one with it's the same actors, but they're camping.
yeah. It was,
It's pretty bad.
yeah, that's a good word for it. So we stopped that, and yeah, so we kind of just continued that, and then Owen had his 12th or 13th birthday party with the
Because
paintball.
13th. Turned 13. I was like, hey, we're allowed to play Halo. You know, it's my birthday. I'm kind of over Nerf guns, but I kind of like the shooting people. But I want it to be a little bit more painful. I'm 13. I'm an official teenager. It's time to grow up and hurt people.
What was the
So
favorite?
I'm like, what can we do? Airsoft? Nah, airsoft's kind of far away and really expensive. So it's like, what's a good alternative that still hurts, but it's not as far away? And I was like, paintball.
There you go.
Paintball, there's a paintball place like 30, 40 minutes away. Still kind of far away, but it was a lot less of a drive. And so I get all my friends, including Cole, obviously, because this was like my second birthday party ever. My first was the 12th, so we're not going to go into that. Anyway, we go there, we play paintball, I dominate everyone. We go to win DQ, I'm not going to say Wendy's. Every time we retake this podcast, I say Wendy's, but it was DQ.
Yeah.
We go eat at DQ, we go home, and then my dad comes downstairs because that's where we're sleeping, and he tells everyone, all right, don't stay up too late, and if you do, be quiet. And of course, we stay up way too late, and we're not quiet. But basically, eventually, we all pass out of sleep exhaustion. But
Or
when we
like,
wake up,
Yep.
when we wake up, the party ends at 11:30. We wake up at 9:30. We eat. It's like 10:30. We realize, hey, 2 people are missing. We go downstairs, and there are 2 people on the couch. One of them wakes up, and he's like, oh, what's up? I'm gonna go eat. So he goes eats. And the other kid's just passed out. He's just like melatonin overdose, passed out.
well, 13-year-old passed out.
Yeah, that's true. And then I sneak up. So what I do is I sneak up behind him. I hit the leather couch and I grab his shoulders and I'm like, ah! And he screams so high pitched, like a whistle, like a dog whistle, if it was like a slightly lower so that the humans could hear it.
Half
That
step below
high.
dog whistle. It was
Yeah.
insane.
It was crazy. It changed our lives for the better.
It really did. I think part of my brain just kind of like fell off when he screamed.
I lost a couple brain cells that day.
Yeah, I think my eardrums may be degraded. Maybe it grew a couple inches shorter. Truly epic event.
And then you turn 14, you're at school gets canceled, you're stuck at home, you have nothing to do, so you make a podcast. That's what you do. You make a podcast with your best friend, you get guests, and then you make a show, and now we're here.
And speaking
Caught
of
up.
guests, we have here one of the Coast Guard aides, navigation and technical advisor, and waterway management officers.
One heck of a job title.
Oh yeah, it's very epic. He actually used to trace drug lords too. which
Yeah.
that's just a way cool job. And yeah, so here he is, Mr. Aaron Haynes.
Oh, come on in a second. What is her?
Yep, technology. He is connecting to audio. He is here. Hello.
Hello, hey guys.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good. Yes. It's a
I have
nice.
a couple questions for you today.
We do. So, would you mind just introducing yourself a little bit and kind of what you do?
Oh, so my name is Aaron, and I am in the United States Coast Guard. I am a technical advisor for navigational waterways and dealings with kind of port management and waterway navigational aids and fixtures.
That's a very
Right.
epic job title.
Yeah,
That is
thank you.
pretty epic.
Which
Thank you.
write a
It's
300-page paper about your job. All right, I'll write my title. I'll call it good.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's definitely fun. Very diverse, and you definitely have. You never do the same thing every day. So
Okay.
Yeah. So our second question is, how has COVID and quarantine impacted your job and your day-to-day life?
So, how's COVID impacted my daily life and my job? So far, as you know, here in Great Northwest, we have been on a stay-home order, and it has changed our just our way of life tremendously. Mine being that I do work around the clock. I work remotely, and I also am on kind of a standby and also kind of a fill-in if anyone else goes down or anything of that nature. It's definitely been kind of a very unique situation, meaning that we've never planned for this to happen, so we're just kind of going day by day and figuring it out as we go and mitigating risk and making our best judgment calls.
Yeah. So, what kind of did your life when the world first kind of hit the pause button on everything? How what did you do? How did you adjust when it first happened?
I think for my family and for during this pandemic, when you say the pause button was hit, I mean, we kind of got a semi game plan together on the personal side of things, kind of day to day, what we're gonna do, how we're gonna adjust, how we're gonna stay quote unquote sane, by getting outside a little bit, but maintaining social distancing and doing walks, especially since this is a time of year where it's nice and sunny outside. Trying to enjoy those creature comforts outdoors, somewhat. And on the professional side of things, it was immediately we have to adapt and overcome the situation by, getting a game plan together, figuring out how we're going to all work together, but still try to do our best maintaining social distancing, when we're sometimes in close quarters, taking those extra precautions, wearing gloves, wearing masks, wearing full sleeves, and things of that nature. Always keeping our hands washed when possible. Hand sanitizer is always around, and also kind of there's some guidelines and practices that came out from our health providers and things like that, telling us, these are steps to avoid getting sick and spreading germs. Like cough into your shirt, and kind of if you have to cough or anything like that, leave the room and trying to kind of seclude yourself. But it's drastically changed, I think, my professional life more so than my personal life, and the fact that there were some day-to-day activities at work that I would generally try to accomplish, talking to, dealing with my aid to navigational units, around between Northern California to almost Idaho to Alaska to Hawaii. Getting a game plan together to, once all this is said and done, how are we going to maintain ops normal operations consistently and normally? Focusing on the more impactful stuff, the more critical stuff. Making sure that ships can navigate safely into port without running aground or losing crew members and things of that nature.
Yeah. And as you've stated, your business life has continued and you're still working, but your time at home has increased significantly. And have you had a moment where you're at home and you're doing some task, like the menial task, and you realize you've kind of forgotten or you have to relearn how to do a task?
Yes, that's happened quite often. It's definitely happened a lot with some recipes, some cooking recipes, and grilling and things like that. And also some of our routine as far as like, where we put dishes and things of that nature. But it's also given me a time to kind of hone in on those things and try to sharpen those skills. Like, for instance, the recipes to cooking. I haven't made any like I'm not a big baker or of desserts and things like that. But that's one thing that I'm kind of thankful for during this time, since all the gyms are closed right now. And but it's been really good as far as to me and my wife and family. As we've connected, we've gotten to talk a lot, we've gotten to do a lot of walking and kind of just being able to have this time it's a blessing. It's a big blessing to us. For some, it may not be, and after a while, you can get if you're stuck in isolation for too long, it can definitely become a burden on some people. But yeah, overall, it's been good. But there's been days where I've been like, yeah, I wish I could definitely go out to a restaurant or go out to eat, and sit down and have a meal, or let's go to the movie theater and see a movie or something like that, or let's go hiking, let's go biking, let's go snowboarding. So some of my hobbies have been cut out. So
Yeah. Do you think quarantine has, I don't know, given you a little bit more of a shorter fuse for your family?
I think it's given me a little bit more insight somewhat into some of my family's pet peeves, and to others' pet peeves as well. Like, one thing I'm noticing too is after a couple of moments, if there's like a buildup of kind of like negligence in some area, or someone doesn't like something put in the sink versus the dishwasher, it can definitely be a factor in pushing each other's buttons.
Yeah.
But it's been good because we've been able, to talk those things through. We've been able to kind of figure out, like, oh wait, you don't like that, so okay, then I know not to do that anymore. So
Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned the search for activities that you can do during quarantine. Have you picked up any hobbies or anything that you've learned to cope with being at home all the time?
The only thing I would say, I mean, I think I'm a little bit more so with my tasking and things like that. I'm kind of honing in a little bit more on my time management skills. which is cool because I feel like that's a lifelong practice for it would be for me. And the other thing is, yeah, no, there's been some things like in my faith, there's some books I've been able to read and things I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to read that book. I'm going to read that book, but I've never like sat down and read it. Whereas where I'm home sometimes for long periods of time, I'm like, okay, there's nothing else. I can't go anywhere. There's nothing else for me to do. I might as well go ahead and sit down and read the book. So.
Yeah. So I think a question that's asked to a lot of people right now, what will you do once the world reopens?
Well, yeah, that question is once the world reopens or once we get go kind of get phased back into the population. I think from my standpoint, I think I'm still going to take certain precautions, but at the same time, I'm still definitely going to, speaking of certain precautions, basically, keep, you should always keep your hands washed and clean, but also I feel like there's going to be mask wearing and things like that. But I think one of the first things is we're going to be looking forward to vacationing and probably planning out vacations. Everyone will be, I think, planning out vacations or doing something like that. We may wait a little bit longer and try to normalize our normal routine before this pandemic came along. And then take vacation so there's not an influx of people that's traveling everywhere and COVID creeps back into everyone's lives slowly but surely.
Yeah, I think that brings us to our last question. Do you have any words of encouragement to the people who are stuck at home and don't have anything to do, and what do you think they should do now that they have more time?
Well, one of my things is just kind of I've overheard certain folks say, I wish that we could go back to normal life, but I thought about that and thinking about that, I said to myself, well, once we go back to normal life, are we going to be the grass is greener on the other side where we wish we were back in stay at home and able to have that time to learn a new hobby or spend more time with family or, just kind of do a lot of self-care and things like that. I think the encouragement there is the fact that this will pass, but just don't rush. Don't rush, and also kind of take your time and try to love those around you as best as you can, and just be there for them. This is a time where I think people should be helping out others, and not necessarily being selfish and things like that. And then also with my belief, my faith, and everything like that. This is a great time to get into the Bible if you have trouble consistently staying in the Bible and things like that. You can pick a time of day. It doesn't have to be the same time each day. Just for 10 or 15 minutes. And if you keep doing that, slowly but surely, it's going to build up consistency, and you will see, you'll see a pattern, and you will. It'll be second nature to you after 3 weeks to a month. And also just, do, if you have a big family, board games, puzzles, running, building forts, living room forts, I hear is a really, really big thing, really popular among families too. And getting creative with movie themes and things like that, dressing up as a character. So
that sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah,
we used to make a lot of cheat forts as kids. I remember Owen was pretty good at it.
Yeah, I wasn't good at cleaning it up though.
No, I was though. I was bad at making it, but I was professional made.
Yeah, and I mean, even I think if you built a fort and weren't able to clean it up right away now, I mean, I don't think you would be completely like out of line. Taking your time cleaning it up, being human and cleaning it up after some period of time is cool too. So.
There's no rush.
Yeah, exactly. No rush. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of said to focus on being grateful. And speaking of gratefulness, we're grateful that you joined us for our podcast today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we appreciate the time that you took and to spend it with us.
Oh yeah, it was really fun to talk to you, and it was really cool to talk to you too.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure. It's definitely an honor. And it's one of those things where, during this time, it's I had the time, and this is one of those things that that definitely probably if we were pre-pandemic or what you want to call it, if we weren't in this time, it would be a little bit harder to schedule. So kind of thankful for that too. So
yeah, it's been like really weird because like nobody was really prepared for it in like any way. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think now a lot of people are starting to look at it as anything can happen. I need to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as Christians, I think this is a great time for us to do when we can, within the confines of the stay-at-home and things like that, outreach and try to reach some people and bring them to Christ. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that I know for sure I've been praying for that have it a lot harder than I do, especially in the medical field and all our essential personnel and frontline workers and things like that. Me being one or whatnot, but not to the severity that they are. So, but yeah, definitely be keeping those guys in prayer.
Yeah. So it was epic to talk to you today, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. This has been awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess
That wraps it up.
I think so. So yeah,
Cool.
Stay safe and don't get corona is my advice.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll definitely try not to.
Yes. I think everyone should try not to. I don't know. I think it definitely could be worse though. Because like the Spanish flu, I don't know when that was. It was like in the 1800s or something. That just like wiped out so many people. And like
yeah. No, that was definitely when this came along. That was definitely brought up. Like, hey, what are the numbers compared to the Spanish flu and things like that? People were debating back and forth. And personally, I was like, I don't know if it matters, but people are still losing their lives. So, and it's just one of those things where, no matter what numbers there are, people were still losing their lives and things like that. And, we need to figure out how to stop that from happening, especially, if, it's unfortunate. There's been a lot of people, of certain age and certain health categories that have just been kind of falling victim to COVID, and it's been sad. So.
Yeah, it's crazy to think too. Like you see the number of like worldwide deaths, it's like in the 100,000s now. Like every single one of those numbers is actually a person. Like I kind of just realized that lately. Like, oh man, that's a lot of people. But then when you think about it, like that's a lot of people.
Yeah. Now, how are you guys doing with the adjusting to daily life with this pandemic? With school, family, and friends.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
You go.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I think I've learned to just kind of take it in stride, kind of, because it's not going to end. Well, it is going to end. That came out wrong. But it's not gonna be like abrupt ending where suddenly we're gonna be back to like the before normal. And so like I kind of just learned to deal with kind of how it's been and how it's gonna happen. And like
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I've been taking advantage of apps like these where you can just talk to other people. I've been trying to be grateful that the time that I have to use it with something that actually matters or something that I actually want to do. I think that's been how I've coping.
yeah. This would be terrible, like a lot worse if we didn't have this technology and stuff. Like if it was like back in like the 1950s or something, and the telephone just came out. No, that's not when it came out. But like when it was like the um. Oh man, my brain is failing me right now. I feel like
Even like right before FaceTime was invented, this would be a lot worse.
yeah.
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 Yeah,
So,
actually, you know what? In a way, too. Yeah, no. This is. You make a very, very good point. You know, with the whole with technology nowadays, that and before. I feel like that and before, FaceTime and video chat and things like that. Now people are so accessible. Via phone. Whether it's phone, text, or video chat, that there's almost no excuse for someone to get a hold of you. Whereas, say the mid 90s, early 90s and things like that, people didn't have this technology, so they had to like either, wait for a phone call on a landline or now I feel like I'm dating myself here a little bit, but wait for a phone call on a landline or type up an email when email is like just in its infancy, and also write a letter. I feel like that's a missing art a little bit, and I think I actually kind of like letters.
yeah, they have more like thought to them, I guess.
Yeah. You can't backspace and delete. That's for sure.
Yeah, you can either like redo the whole thing or go with what you got. And it's like kind of also the thing where like the person spent more time and like more thought into what they wrote specifically to you. But it's like nowadays with texting, it's like you open up someone's profile and you text like yeah, and then you send it, and it's like yeah, it's different.
You can't express the same emotion just by looking into the camera. You have to actually use words to express it.
Yeah. That and the I think having a envelope addressed just for you too is very, depending on, there's all types of like what you call it, languages that are spoken to people and things like that. Personalized, some people like personalized letters and things like that, which is pretty cool. But what was I gonna say is, as far as like just the technology being a very important part of our lives now, it's like we rely on it and everything. So hopefully, technology doesn't crash during this whole ordeal. So.
Yeah, kind of funny.
Even if it did, technology's just advancing so quickly. It would probably be a week before someone developed a new app or a new network to connect to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of funny though. Like we used to be these like humans used to be like savage cavemen. We used to have like this rock, and that was called technology. And then like now we're so dependent on like a smartphone or computer.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. For me, we've mentioned before, it's like every 5 seconds you have to figure out what to, how to use your phone, because of it's rapidly evolving, updates and things like that. Like, oh, I thought the text message app was right here, but no, it changed over here. By the way, you have to go through these other apps to get to it. So
yeah. By the way, we made an update to your phone. You now have 0 apps. But it runs smoothly.
Yeah.
So
Please install the USB port in your left arm.
yeah,
Yeah.
we now track your location and we can watch your phone 24/7.
Yeah, that's an actual thing. We have what's it called on iPhone? Find My Friend
Yeah,
through iPhone. Yeah, where it 24/7 continuously can track locations.
well, same with Snapchat too. You can just look on the map of your area and you can see where all of your contacts are.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, like I can't tell if I'd like that. Like I think you can turn off like the setting or whatever, but I don't know if I would like that. Like where are
It's
they
not
right
like
now?
it's not like it's putting out a signal or anything. Even if you turn it off, technically you can still access
Yeah,
where you are from a phone.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's just kind of crazy. Like they see a little icon on the map. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. All right. Well, yeah, it's been an absolute joy to talk to you. And yeah, I hope to stay in touch. And yeah,
Definitely.
stay safe.
Yeah, you guys as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude,
See you later.
Yeah.
I just accidentally pressed the pause stop recording thing a couple times. My bad. So yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for our show. If you want to hear more on the childhood thing, do it in the comments down below. And yeah,
if you want us to make this a series, military personnel series, put in the comments as well and hit that subscribe and like button.
yes,
And hopefully we'll have a new podcast for you next week as well.
yes. And if you want to see more of my grandpa's song in the beginning, then yes, also tell in the comments below. So we'll see you guys next time. Ciao.
See ya.